Hey, Star Pupils. I'm your host, friend, and life coach, Mrs.Divine Awakening. Today, you're tuned into the segment that I have where we're talking about homeschool, and I'm giving you 10 tips about homeschool. I have a few segments here on YouTube called Public School Taboo, and if you look up those videos, you can follow me on my homeschool journey. But I've been homeschooling for about 5 years now, so I have a few tips for everyone who's getting started now. Tip number one is that you should do a pre-assessment before you start your homeschool year. So by that I mean I want you to look at each child individually and see where they are academically, socially, when it comes to life skills at home, where they are, and then for you to see where it is that you want them to be. For example, what goals do you want to set for your child? Let's say that um, you want them to learn how to read by the end of this year, and that's a goal you would set for them. Maybe they can already read, and you want them to learn how to independently get themselves dressed. That is also a goal. It doesn't have to strictly be academically like math, reading, science. It can be personal development as well. Also, when you assess them, you're going to also want to see what goals it is that they want to accomplish. So, if you have a child who wants to learn how to cook, okay, then that will be something you want to implement into your homeschool because your homeschool is for you and your child. Um, Also, when it comes to pre-assessments, you want to really track and see too if academics is important for you, um, what they should know according to what the school district is at right now. So if they're in first grade, what are they teaching first graders? Does your homeschool student know these things already? What are they lacking? If they're going to second grade, have they picked up all the skills from first grade yet? You're going to want to really sit down with your child, evaluate them on that. It's kind of like a pop quiz you're giving them, or a talk through, or play some kind of game. Figure out how you want to assess them and go from there. So you want to write it down what they are what skills they have mastered and what skills they have yet to learn or yet to have mastered, so that you have kind of like a running agenda on what you want to be teaching your student. Okay, and when you do your pre-assessment, you also want to ask them questions about themselves. A lot of times we feel like we know our children, but when they are in public school settings, if they've come from one, um, or even if you just work a lot, sometimes you have to get back in tune with the child and see what it is about them that you need to learn more about. For example, you want to ask them what their favorite TV shows are, or their favorite characters. What kind of ice cream do they like? What's their favorite food? Um, you want to see these things because as you create your curriculum, print out math pages for them and things like that, you want to kind of tailor it to your child. Meaning, if they like SpongeBob, it's pretty cool for them to see their homework with SpongeBob on it for a math assignment. You know, it's pretty simple to make documents like that and to engage your children that way. Um, Tip number two is that you want to stay organized. Okay, so by staying organized, I mean things like you want to keep a progress journal of what you are teaching your child, what you're doing every day. My progress journal that I keep is something I do on a daily, um, and it is not it's detailed, but it's not like it's overly detailed. So what I do is I'll break down each subject. Let's say that I did math, science, and social studies. Okay, I'm going to say what I taught in that area and what resources I use, because it's not always just coming from my head. Of course, it's coming from other knowledge and books and videos and things like that. And you also want to keep track of the number of days you are in school. I know my first year of homeschooling, when I realized, I think on day like 97, that we were almost on 100 days of school. It blew my mind how quickly the school year went by. So, on top of every page of your journal, when you're writing down what you did for the day, it's nice to keep track of day number one, day number two. And that's important also because you should also have a start date for your homeschool and an end date for your homeschool, so that you have record of the fact that you are actually teaching your child what's going on, because you never know when that kind of information may come in handy, whether you're taking your child back to public school, or authorities want to check out to make sure you're doing what you say you're doing as far as educating your child. things like that. You never know what kind of information people may need or what kind of records you may need to back you up for what you say you're doing in the home with your children. So you're going to want to record your resources on this progress journal. You're going to want to record what you learned from that day, and you're going to want to record the number of days you've been in class, okay, and your start date and your end date. Another way for you to stay organized is for you to have some kind of a schedule, okay? So to have some kind of a schedule does not mean you have to follow a regular school routine schedule. So you don't need to have a 9 to 3 or a 9 to 2. You don't need to have classes every day in math, English, science, social studies, physical education. You can literally mix it up however you want. For me, I know we do college style, meaning that sometimes we will just have math, English, and gym on a Monday. And then on a Monday and Wednesday and Friday. Tuesday and Thursday, we're going to do the other subjects. And sometimes it's free flowing, where we're focusing on whatever we're focusing on. If we have an actual project that's going to take up a lot of our time, we may focus on that one project throughout the day. But you do want to have some kind of a schedule going where you know that you set aside time and dedication for your homeschool. And so you understand what it is that you're going to need material for, and just the flow of how your day is going to go or how your week is going to look. Okay, so you also want it to stay organized. You can also have folders and binders. You want to have a folder for every subject you do, so any loose leaf papers can go into there. You want to have a binder for them as well. So if you prefer to store your loose leaf inside of a binder, do that. If you want to have a notebook for each subject, that's something else to look into. So you want to have these compartments for you to keep track of any kind of worksheets you do, any lessons, any notes, so that your child is organized and you are organized on what it is that you're teaching. Let's see. And another good method of organizing things is to have a place where you turn in your homework at. So you want to, if your child has homework, you want them to turn it in somewhere all the time, and for them to receive it all the time in the same place. We just kind of want to have a routine going so that everyone knows where everything is at all times. Okay. All right. So those are my tips about organization. And also, one more thing with organization is that you want to know where your curriculum is coming from. Okay. I know I've tried in the past. The first year for kindergarten, I did free flowing. I just taught whatever was coming up throughout the week, throughout the day for the children, and it kind of worked like that, and it worked really well. Second year, I went to Kamali Academy. I got their course, and you like read it verbatim, and you're teaching according to the things that they have to teach. And Kamali Academy is a good one because it helps out with Black history in a way where it's empowering, not in a way where you believe your people were only slaves and that's all they were to you guys until Obama came. So, but anyway, I took their course, and I was teaching every day according to their lessons every day. And I mean, that works out for some people. I love the material. It just didn't work out for me because I'm one of those free-flowing type of spirits, meaning it may be on the agenda today for us to learn about fractions, but what came up was multiplication. So we're going to go ahead and do that because obviously that's coming up for a reason. We still need some more work in there. Or time. It's time for us to start working on clocks. That's what came up today. So we're actually going to skip fractions. We're going to be focusing more on the clock right now. So I prefer better those courses where you can integrate them with your own, and you can kind of take your lead and go with the flow, not just strictly reading off of a script from someone else. But they do have those kind of homeschool curriculums available. And so that's why that's important for you to know what kind of curriculum you're going to teach, because you may think one is going to work well for you, and then after a few weeks realize it's not. So that's okay as long as you're understanding what it is that you're going to be teaching and how you're going to teach it. And every homeschool is different, right? So the way I teach homeschool is going to be different from how my sister, who has 5 children, is going to teach homeschool. It's just going to work according to your home, which is why homeschool is so unique, okay? So the way I do homeschool is I free flow throughout my day. I set aside time. 9 to 3 are my hours. It's not that I am working the whole time from 9 to 3 with my child. It just depends. It really depends. But that's the time I set aside for it. But that's going to be different from some. When I do work with my child, we are working and we do some things on the computer. Some things we're doing outdoors or at a facility somewhere. Some things we're doing in the home. Some things we're doing hands-on, me and him. So it just all depends. Some people have their homeschools where it's all online. Their child is sitting in front of a computer, learning from either a teacher, a certified teacher online, or through an online program. There's a free homeschool program called Discover K-12. Now, I'm saying homeschool because it's a tool you can use during your homeschool, but Discover K-12 is actually just a public school that's free online, and it's ran by certified teachers. They grade your work and everything if you pay for that option, but it is free, but you can pay for the option of them grading and keeping record of your child's progress and giving you report cards, things like that. But that's another way for people to homeschool with their curriculum. Another way that I do is that I have different resources. Like I'll use Brain Quest books because it gives me an overall general spectrum of the types of things that are expected from that grade. Although I'll also do it personally to tailor the education personally to my child, I still like to know, where they are academically in reference to here's where they're saying fourth grade should be, and so on. Spectrum is another good book that I use. That program, the Spectrum program for reading and for math. And also, you can use your local library. They have a lot of programs at the library that are tailored toward homeschools. We're in a homeschool program now, and everything's virtual and online now, of course. But you can go to the library, pick up different arts and craft packets that they have that are tailored to whatever they're going to be teaching for that month. And so you can be prepared at home to follow along with them. There are plenty of reference books and textbooks that you have at the library that are for every single subject you can possibly imagine. I have some, we're working on fractions, so I have some where it's breaking down fractions in different ways. It's an easy read, and it gives me a different perspective on how to teach something that I feel I understand, but I need to make sure I'm explaining a way that my child understands as well. All right. So the next tip I have is going to be on number 3, and that's taking breaks. All right. So depending on your child, you're going to know when you're getting frustrated, when they're getting frustrated. You're going to know when they've been working super hard and deserve a break. You're going to know when just you both are exhausted or have had a long day or whatever. You're gonna know how to sense and feel when both of you just need a break, one of you need a break. Just take a break. It's fine to have many breaks throughout the day. Your breaks can be 5 minutes, they can be 10 minutes, they can be 15 minutes. Who knows? Whatever you need for you and your child to reset, regroup, and get back into the flow of things with less resistance. So you're going to want to remember that, especially with small children, it's going to be very hard to keep their attention at first. So just remember to take breaks. It's okay. All right. Tip number 4 is that you are going to want to, tip number 4 is that everything might not go the way you have it planned for that day. Meaning that if you have these different subjects you want to do for the day, whether it be math, reading, science, you may not get to it all. You may see that your child is still struggling very much when it comes to English or reading or something. And then that's going to make you want to stop and focus on that. It's not about pushing past and, well, I have to get all these things done today. No, it's not. It's about getting what needs to be done today. And so it's about being okay with allowing your schedule to be to kind of be disrupted sometimes, because that is the ultimate schedule, is you tuning into what is needed for the day for your child. Okay. Tip number 5 is that you're going to want to learn your child's love language. So by that is, how does your child like to be praised about when they do something great, when they're doing a good job, when they have an accomplishment? Okay. So look up love languages. There are 5 different types, and everyone responds differently. So if you have 5 different children, they're probably all going to respond in 5 different ways. One may like to just words of affirmation. Great job. That was great. So another one may enjoy a treat or a reward of some sort. And the list goes on. So just make sure you take the time out to learn your child's love language so that you can praise them in a way that's appropriate for them to understand that, you're congratulating them for doing such a great job. Okay. Tip number 6 is that you're going to want to know how to be present. So tip number 6 is that you're going to want to be present throughout your day. You're going to want to be present because sometimes things do come up. When they come up, you have to be able to adjust, and that's also a life skill that you're going to be teaching your children by the way you handle things. Meaning, even if you have a longer list on the board about all the things you're going to do for the day, if you see that it's time for you to pump the brakes and focus on a different thing, or something completely different may come up. You may, like I was saying earlier, maybe want to do fractions, but now what's come up actually is multiplication. You're going to want to know how to pump the brakes and go ahead and retract, regroup, and go to what you need to go to. Something in the family may come up, or all of a sudden you forgot you need to go grocery shopping. All right, learn how to make lessons within lessons. Learn how to make lessons within life skills. So remember that something being thrown off track is not the end of all things. Okay, that's something you can bounce back from, and actually sometimes what's actually best for you and your student. So learn how to be present, go with the flow, listen to your child, because then you're going to learn the next route that you need to take with them. Tip number 7 is you're going to want to know your strengths and weaknesses. Okay, if you are very good at English, then you're going to have a great time and an easier time teaching your child English. If you write with your left hand, your child writes with their right hand, you may have a harder time teaching them how to write. You may need to outsource or find a different way to help your child learn how to write. If you are no good in math, or you're good in math until you get to geometry, when it's time to get to geometry, you're going to need to outsource that. Wherever your weak points are academically is where you're going to want to learn how to outsource. So there are other programs out there, like Kumon. There you can get a tutor. There are different avenues out there for you to get help, and you should really utilize those resources when it's time for them. So don't try to be out here acting like you are Superman, Superwoman. You can teach your child everything. Everything they need to know comes from you. Do them a service, not a disservice. So do them a service and help them to let them see you reaching out and seeking help and to elevate the same way you would want them to do that on their own, now and in the future. Tip number 8 is that you want to teach home skills too. Okay, life skills, home skills, you want to teach those kind of things too, because it comes in handy during homeschool. Meaning, if laundry needs to be done and you have an 8-year-old child who doesn't do their own laundry, it's okay for you to teach them during this time. Okay, we're going to do laundry day. All right, I'm going to teach you how to separate clothes, how to load them up in the washing machine, and what to do. All right, or maybe it's time for lunch and you've had a busy morning with homeschool, and your child can help you make the peanut butter and jelly sandwiches you're making, or help you make the salad you're making or the smoothie you're making. Let them tune in and help too, because that's another skill they're learning, and again, that's learning within learning. Who says learning has to be just the 5 subjects? Learning could be so much more, because learning is about life, and it's a life skill. They're going to keep learning. You want to teach your child to keep learning even after public school is done, even after elementary school, high school, college is done. You want to teach them that learning is something you can do every single day, because it's a lesson to learn as long as you're alive. Tip number 9 is you're going to want to prioritize your homeschool. So like I said, I do mine from 9 to 3 every day. Yes, we're not working the whole time from 9 to 3. Sometimes we are. Sometimes we're actually working past that. But people know, don't call me between 9 and 3. I'm not going to respond. My clients are not taking clients during that time. And if I need to take a call during that time, or need to take a client during that time, that's the only time that I can meet with that client, then I'm adjusting my homeschool hours, meaning I am making sure that is important enough to devote time to it, where that child knows I'm devoting time to it, I know I'm devoting time to it, and those outside of me know that I am devoting time to it, because homeschool is your responsibility, and responsibility and freedom, they go hand in hand. Okay, it's very hard to have freedom if you're an irresponsible type of person, because you're going to misuse it. So it's very hard to have your own homeschool, be responsible for running a school, teaching a child, if you don't know how to hold yourself accountable. All right, so prioritize your homeschool. And tip number 10, and this is the tip I think is the best one, and that is the fact that this homeschool is as much your school as it is your child's school or your children's school. Therefore, although you run the show as far as you're the one in charge of teaching, your child also runs the show. That means if there's something important that they want to learn, you're going to make sure that happens. That means if they are telling you that they like to have a field trip sometime soon, you're going to make sure that happens. That means that if they are telling you, oh, they're tired of doing spelling words all the time, writing them out, you need to get creative and think of a different way of doing things, okay? So that means listening to your child, including them in when you're making decisions, including them in when you have thoughts about what you should do or what you want to teach next, what subject, what topic. Children are very smart, and that's the point of your homeschool too, is to increase this knowledge and to acknowledge that knowledge that they already have. So listen to your child to see what they have to offer, because homeschool is about the unity of the home academically and just moving on throughout life as a solid structure, a fluid structure. All right. I hope these tips help you and have a happy journey with your homeschool. Good night, Star Pupils.